Hey, I'm Destinee from FateofDestinee. And right now I have the camera further away than I normally do because I want to talk about some of the things that I'm carrying on my person right now. This is more or less how I generally carry, except for the Taser. I don't usually carry it like this. It's not very well concealed or concealed at all. Recently, I uploaded a video where I talked about concealed carry and whether or not you should conceal carry. If you do decide to take that responsibility on yourself, I would like to introduce just a couple of options for what you can carry. Starting with less than lethal options, because concealed carry is not limited to a firearm. Let's focus in on three in particular. The first option I want to introduce is pepper spray. The limitation in Wisconsin is a 10% concentration of oleoresin capsicum. That's the hot pepper oil that makes it spicy and painful. And also in Wisconsin, you are not allowed to have UV chemicals or UV dyes in the liquid, and you're limited to a 2-ounce dispenser. I want to zoom in and show you what that looks like real quick. Here you can see the safety. So basically you just thumb that off and press down and it releases a stream, because this is just a liquid, but there are also aerosol and foam pepper sprays. It's small, it's light, so it's easy to conceal. It's also relatively inexpensive. For example, this model I picked up for about $10. And the OC spray it causes discomfort, but it also can impair your vision. Some of the disadvantages, though, are that there is backspray to deal with. From some of the law enforcement officers I've talked with and from the reading I've done, it's really difficult and sometimes just impossible to avoid when you spray this, not having some of it come back at you, which is pretty uncomfortable, so it's something to consider. Another disadvantage is that, at least in Wisconsin, you're limited to carrying 2 ounces, so you don't have a whole ton of it to use, so you have to kind of be smart about how you're applying it. And another disadvantage is that it relies on pain compliance to be effective, and that's only effective within 0 to 10 feet. At least this model is. So if I'm spraying this at some guy who's like hopped up on drugs or maybe just has a really high pain tolerance, it may not hurt him at all. It might actually just serve to make him mad. So something to consider about when you're thinking about carrying pepper spray. Another less than lethal option to consider is a Taser. This is the civilian or C2 Taser. This unit might be familiar to some of you who've seen some of my earlier videos because I gave it a full review and actually did a video where I received a tase. Not so much fun. How it works is there's a cartridge loaded in this end that launches 2 probes connected to 15-foot wire, and the battery charges an electrical charge through the body, and that electrical signal mimics the same signal that the brain uses to control the muscles. And Taser calls this NMI, or neuromuscular interference. It also has a backup stun option. These 2 electrodes, when you press them onto somebody, it causes a contact stun, and it's pretty uncomfortable. Some of the advantages of this unit is that it has an increased range for the pepper spray, which is really only effective, at least the unit I showed you, from 0 to 10 feet. The pros will launch up to 15 feet, so it's effective from contact to 15 feet. And that NMI effect doesn't depend on pain compliance because it just mimics how the natural human biology functions to control muscles and then just contracts them at random. And it does have that stun backup, so for whatever reason the cartridge isn't effective, you do have an option still for self-defense. Some of the disadvantages, though, the capacity is only 1 cartridge at a time. So if that 1 cartridge doesn't work and the 2 probes don't connect the clothing or the body, you can't complete that circuit. And so then that NMI effect doesn't work. So it's not as effective against like multiple attackers. A third option is a tactical flashlight. I carry one of these every day. This one is the Elzetta ZFL M60. The casing is hard anodized aluminum, and then it has a crenellated bezel and 235 lumens. The Elzetta has that hard outer casing and the bright light, so it's effective for practical use like, I use it for when I'm going to my car at night or trying to find something in my purse in the dark or what have you. But that bright light, the 235 lumens is enough when you shine it in an attacker's eyes between like 0 to 15 feet. You can saturate the rhodopsin pigment in the eyes, which causes night blindness. They can't perceive any light. That effect lasts for like 10 to 15 seconds. And it continues to impair the vision for 60 to 90 seconds. And then if that isn't the effect that you're looking for, that crenellated bezel with the hard frame would be pretty uncomfortable as like a small melee device. Some of the advantages are the fact that it is a practical tool. And because of that, it's not restricted in as many places as options like pepper spray or tasers are restricted. So you can carry it in more places. And that night blindness can help buy you a little bit of time. But some of the disadvantages are that temporary nature of the night blindness. It's only 10 to 15 seconds, so you better use that time wisely. And if you're going to use that crenellated bezel, you have to be on contact. So for someone like me, I'm only 130 pounds. So if my attacker is a big guy, he could be up to twice my weight. It doesn't matter that I have this hard flashlight. It's not going to be a whole lot to help even the odds. Those are a few self-defense options that I carry on my person. But I think some of you may not even carry a not less than lethal self-defense option. If you do, what do you guys recommend or what do you carry? Because I only introduced a couple of options. Leave me a video response or a comment letting me know what you'd recommend or what you carry. And the limitation is a 2-ounce. I couldn't think of a word for that. I was like, 2 ounces of what? All right, I want to start that.
A 2 ounce max.
The pepper